Welcome to Unfuck Your Life and Relationships with Anita Astley, psychotherapist and author, and Ryan Rosmann, recording studio owner and music producer. This is a podcast like no other. Sit forward, listen in, and get ready to get unfucked from the inside out. Unfuck your life! Unfuck your life!
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Unfuck Your Life and Relationships. I'm your host, Anita Astley. We are again in studio talking about the female experience of online dating. We have Jen, we have Amanda, and we have Sandy. And of course, my wonderful co-host, Ryan, who chimes in once in a while on his experience. It's about the women today, Ryan.
It's about the women today.
All right. Jen, I want to continue the discussion with you about online dating, but I want to know a little bit about before you start to date online.
Sure. So before I started dating online, I dated in real life. And
what is that? Can you define that for the
right?
Shocking. What does that mean? In person? You actually went out?
Yes,
and
I went out. I volunteered places. I, went to art gallery openings and theater shows and concerts. And in so doing, I met my son's father, with whom I had a 10-year relationship. We cohabitated. We owned businesses together. We ran nonprofits together. And then at the end of that, when he moved abroad, I started dating online, looking for my next deep romantic connection.
And how did that go for you at the beginning?
I think at the beginning, I wasn't really looking for anything serious off the jump. You know, after you come out of a 10-year relationship, it can be really hard to imagine doing all that again, putting in that much work and...
Because it's such a different way of dating.
It is.
Right?
It is. Yeah. And so, I dated, I was, serial dating, I guess you would say.
Serial dating?
Yeah, I was going out with a bunch of different people,
And did they know that you were doing, and they were okay with it?
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
Men do it all the time. Why is it bad for women to do it?
Oh, I'm not saying it's good or bad for women or men. Like it's not a sexist thing.
I heard a tone. I'm just saying.
For my own personal, because I don't and wouldn't, we taled about that last time,
That's
I don't.
your issue. We got to set up a therapy.
I'm not in, I don't know. Like,
everybody needs to go to therapy.
Everybody should.
Yes.
I just feel like more than anything in this day and age, with all of the stuff going on, I don't want to have multiple sexual partners at one time.
I would agree with that. Doesn't necessarily mean that I was having multiple sexual partners.
And I wasn't insinuating
Serial
you were.
dating.
But also, like, it's hard for me to emotionally, like, feel like I would be able to be with multiple people like that
we are
at the
just
same
going to have
time.
an episode on this issue with
That's
you.
great. That's awesome. Because we talked about
It's
polyamory,
a
like off
conversation.
mic too. Like,
we keep talking about Ryan is wounded in that way. It's okay, buddy.
Can we just talk about me?
Yeah.
Can the podcast just be about me the whole time?
Getting back to the female experience of dating. We love you, Ryan, but shut the fuck up.
You looked at me. No.
Which app did you use?
So I started out on OkCupid.
Oh, I haven't heard of that one. So why did you choose that?
OkCupid.
I think a lot of my friends at the time were using it, and it was a little bit more like conversation based. I feel like more than a Tinder or a whatever else. Plenty of Fish, I think, was popular.
Okay, I've heard of that one. Okay.
OkCupid, people had conversation for longer.
How do you mean, like texting conversation
in the app? And some of the conversations, obviously, in order to have the dates, they had to progress out of the app and into the real life, to the coffee dates.
Oh my God, real life? So how did it go? How did you transition? Because how do people... I have my formula that I've shared. I do. Texting... What's it?
I feel like...
Were you listening? Texting, FaceTime, talking on the phone, then meeting in person. Wow. Boom, 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 in that sequence. And I know some people don't follow that, but... You guys are fucked up. You got to follow the sequence. It'll help you. Follow the sequence.
Sequence when they want to.
Well, then you move on. So go ahead, Jen.
Right.
Sure. I think especially when I first re-entered the dating pool.
Yes.
I wanted to talk for a lot longer because I was scared. I'm meeting somebody that I've never met before, and I'm meeting them.
And then you're older too.
Sure. Yeah. I think I was in my early 40s at that time. Okay. Yeah. So, I wanted to talk for longer. And that meant I weeded out a lot of people who were just looking for a quick hookup. Yeah. Because you were going to have to invest some time in the conversation before I was going to be like, okay, so coffee.
Yeah. Make sure that he pays for the coffee. I'm just saying, if you guys listen to the last episode with Jen, sorry, Jen, I'm just picking on you. I'm just protecting you. Yeah, protecting you. Anyway, listen to our previous one and you'll understand the reference. So go on. Sorry.
Sure, that's okay. And I had some good experiences with some lovely gentlemen early on that, may have started over a coffee but turned into a little bit of a whirlwind romance that eventually burnt out, and which is fine.
So how did you transition from the online stuff to an actual date?
Very slowly. You had to be really funny and entertaining and engaging.
Okay.
Luckily, I am very funny and entertaining and engaging.
Period.
You can hang with my sense of humor over a long conversation, and I think we're going to be good.
And then you might be walking someone to their car.
I might be.
Again, a reference to our previous episode. So, okay, how many dates before you kind of think, okay, I can continue with this guy or I need to move on? How many?
It really doesn't take that many. Like 2, maybe.
2?
Yeah, 2 dates.
Well, I feel the older you are, the more you know what you want.
Yeah.
That was my experience, right?
Yeah.
The turnover is rather quick.
Also, they do weird things sometimes. On the dates, the men? Yes, the men do weird things.
What kind of things?
Tell us all the crazy shit.
Can I tell you the weirdest thing that ever happened?
What is the weirdest thing?
So I meet up with this guy, and we meet at a brewery. And we're sitting there having drinks. And through the course of drinks, it turns out that we know someone in common. And he whips out his phone and shows me an indecent photo of this friend.
Male or female?
Female.
Bruh.
Not cool. Not cool.
And I was horrified.
This is why you should stop sending pictures of your bodies to people.
Right, Sandy. No, you know what?
It wasn't Sandy.
I support it. Just send them titties anywhere.
God,
I know
Amanda.
you already do that, so.
He's on Hinge. All right, so then he shows you the picture. You know this person.
Yes.
Then what?
Did you tell her? We weren't talking anymore, this friend of mine and I didn't know how to our lives had gone in completely separate directions. I think
so, but what do you say to that? I mean, I would be like, dude, if you're doing this to her, I don't even want to know what you might do with me. Right. That's total invasion of privacy.
Finished the date, but I never talked to him.
Good idea.
After that, I remember going home and being like, I would never be able to send this person a sexy picture because the next gal he dated would be like, wham, here's your friend.
Well, it speaks to character, right? It speaks to the character of that person. That's why I think when you transition to an in-person face-to-face, that whole experience will tell you very quickly whether there's going to be an opportunity for a better relationship.
That's a huge consent issue, right? You there's no way that person could have consented to be like, oh, show that picture to just anybody.
Right?
Yeah.
Right.
Boundaries, consent.
Yeah.
So you need to have that
good person
date.
for a
relationship. You
relationship.
needed to have that date to find out because you would not learn of that online.
No.
You need to have that date.
Yes, for sure.
And then, so move down to the next one.
Sure. There were, some micro relationships, some, things that lasted a few months here and there.
And all online also? Did you switch apps because this guy was a dick? Different app. I didn't know. You might find better quality.
I think I only had one, kind of relationship from the apps, I think.
Okay.
There was a while where I was, just thought, I'm just going to open the fire hose and I'm going to meet everybody for coffee. And,
it's cheaper than dating.
It is cheaper than,
a dinner date or drink.
Sure, just to figure out, okay, am I compatible with this person? Because it is different when you're in person than when you're chatting on an app.
Absolutely. Okay.
And through that process, I realized that there are a lot of people that I'm not compatible with.
Okay, good.
And
because that's what they're meant. I mean, create a profile that's genuine, that's real, that's authentic, that represents who you are rather than this bullshit that people make up. Because if you want it to go anywhere, you're eventually going to meet, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. You can't catfish in person.
That's true.
Yeah. So do you have a type? Like, we know Sandy does.
Sandy's got an Asian
I have
type.
a pre going on this like journey type, and that was a wildly charming ADHD Eastern European guy with a beard with a mother wound. Those were my favorite.
Cool.
So specific.
Was
it
that-
really
I love
was.
it.
But if I look
it.
at the through line, I'm like, oh God.
So you noticed the pattern.
I did.
Yeah.
I did.
Good for
And now
you.
I think the only thing that stays is the beard.
Yeah.
I can be I can negotiate on everything else.
Okay.
But they have to have good facial hair?
I'm a big fan of a beard.
Yeah, full beard, not
Mhm.
goatee.
But wait,
has to
do
be
you
like,
specify that on your...
I don't, because I'm
would.
really being funny right
I would.
now.
No, but I would put something like love beards, love men with
Sure.
facial hair. Why not?
I almost didn't date Ryan because of his facial hair choice. Like he had red flag facial hair.
What does that mean, red flag? Wait, what
Was
is
it like
red
a
flag
soul
facial
patch?
hair?
It's
No,
the,
it
it's,
really just-
it's
it just-
the,
It's like
like
the pubic
it looks
lip?
like you dipped your chin in beard.
Oh.
Like
So, I've never been a
and he
mustache
didn't have the
human.
mustache, but he had the beard.
So the thing is, my
What is it
chin
called?
has a little sort of
or whatever.
dimple in it, and I just don't love it. So
Goatee.
yeah, so the facial
It's the
hair, and
goatee.
also like I can't grow a full beard.
Okay.
Like it's real patchy if I try to. So like it was just like it was covering up the thing that I was self-conscious about.
Yes.
But I wasn't.
he didn't have the
into- But I wasn't into
mustache.
having a mustache.
Okay, Amanda was making this expression like,
And
ew.
I-
So what'd you do?
Yeah, so
she
I
told
would
me that I needed to grow a mustache. Basically,
no.
Yes, at breakfast
No.
you were like, I don't like this, and you
Well,
were
maybe
always-
I did.
God, you're so cool.
I'm actually super into the fact
Okay, that
that
was
she's
kinda
like
true.
pretty blunt about a lot of shit.
Yeah, that was a little true.
I'm like, just like
I was like, why did you?
Yeah.
Why this and not that? It just
So she put it that way.
It's giving
And
90s.
Inquiring
Yeah.
minds want to know.
yeah. I mean, I get it. I
Yeah.
get it a little bit. Like after I really thought about it, but like it was just my look for
was your look?
You know, it's just what I did. Like,
Yeah.
you know, again, I was just self-conscious about my chin. Otherwise, I probably would have just like shaved everything at that point.
We're all looking for a certain type, a certain look. And if you develop enough intimacy emotionally, you can start to express some of those things that you like or dislike.
And I thought it was cool.
In a
We were at
loving
breakfast
way.
one day, and it was like she said that, and then I tried.
I think I was
wasn't
gentler
even
though.
sure.
I think
wasn't-
I was like, have you ever tried to grow
I wasn't sure if I could
It's a
actually grow a
suggestion.
mustache because like I don't grow. I have no chest hair, no
Yes.
back hair, barely anything. Like people think I
Yeah.
shave my arms because my tattoos. I just don't.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know if I can do this because I've tried to grow a beard. It doesn't work.
Why is
I look
it
like a
so
hobo.
much?
Talk about
more
emasculating him.
than I've
Amanda.
ever known about
Jeez.
Ryan ever.
Yeah.
You've seen me without a shirt on.
No, well,
I have to.
partially, not fully.
The entire
Yeah, I
audience
mean,
did.
For the show, I saw
Okay,
you
I
just
just want to point out this always goes back to Ryan. Okay, Jen.
I'm so sorry. Should I just leave? I'm
Yeah,
okay.
Can you go now, please?
Right?
No.
I understand.
We love
Jesus,
him.
Ryan.
He's amazing. He makes us laugh.
Ryan.
So, Jen, how do you feel today when you think about dating online and the traditional? Do you prefer traditional or do you prefer online or it's a combination? You're not sure.
I'm not sure if I'm ready to like download an app because I feel like it's so gamified. Where like swiping is similar, it's like a similar form of disassociation to like scrolling, like doom scrolling. And I feel
It's a
like
game,
people
like you're playing a game.
don't take it serious, like, Candy Crush or something.
Oh,
you know?
okay.
Like,
Like, are you going to get the high score
Right,
on Tinder
right.
or
How many
whatever it
likes,
is?
right?
Yeah.
It's the dopamine
Now, what about
matches.
getting set up by people? How do you feel? Like, how do we feel about that in this day and age? No.
No.
Bad experience.
You would have
Never.
to like know me really well.
Yes.
Yeah.
For me to feel like you understood, because my uniqueness as a human, I feel, of course, we're all special, snowflake angel babies.
Wait,
but,
can you what do you mean by that?
everybody thinks they're special, and they think they've got
And
like
they
a whole special
should.
vibe, and they are.
Except for
so-
Ryan, but go ahead. Sorry,
I like
Ryan.
that. That was fun.
I do love
Oh, babe.
But you would have to like really understand my vibe.
You're doing great.
But I do
buddy.
like I don't think there are people that are good enough that I know for Jen or Sandy in specific ways.
What about Diego?
Oh, wow, Diego.
For fuck's sake, Ryan.
But truly, like very successful, very cultured,
and sometimes that can be threatening.
Emotionally available, great sense of humor, well established in their communities. But I've not come across people that I'm like, oh, who'd be great for Jen or Sandy. They're just, and I don't know where those people are. So if I don't know, they don't know.
Well, I think, I tend to be more positive. I think they're out there. And I think particularly with dating online, if you're not having success with one app, you switch the app. And if you're, you got to update that profile once in a while, update the pictures once in a while.
And I swear we're not going for that eHarmony money, but I really
totally
I'm
are.
Like, Jen.
We're gonna contact the.
Yeah, seriously. I want that sweet eHarmony money.
It's different. And there's a little bit like you're going to get something. You can talk about because you've been on the app.
I have been on the app and I've had great luck on the app. And I think it's because the compatibility score and like I said on the other episode, it's a long process. That friggin' thing took me 2 hours and I was pissed off about it. But in the end, I'm like, okay, they actually want to know like what I actually like. Sure. And then I did date men. The compatibility score was high and we were really compatible with each other. So there's a positive correlation somewhere in there. But I want to get back to how do we not get so discouraged and so wounded by some of the negative shit that happens? Because Ryan and, we discussed it on the episode previously, how most of the data and research says it's pretty negative on our psyche.
Yeah.
But just like we said, smoking is horrible for you, but people still do it. So it's not something that's going to go away, but again, something that we need to learn to navigate and negotiate with and set the rules of engagement to have a healthy experience where we can meet somebody. I do believe there is somebody out there, so many people, like we talked about previously, Ryan, remember how many people are using these apps? I don't remember the exact number.
Oh, yeah.
It's an extraordinary amount.
It's an extraordinary amount. So I'm thinking, okay, out of all those people, there's got to be some people that are going to be a good fit for you guys. What do you think, Ryan?
I mean, absolutely. I think first of all, you have to be like in the mindset where like, okay, I want to meet somebody.
Right.
Of course.
Yeah.
But also, I think, you talked about this, like get out there and do stuff. Like you were saying, like when you dated, you were going to art shows and theater and this and that. Like, are you doing that in the same way? But also, even if you aren't doing it, like if you were going to go out, like, are you trying to meet people? Like, do you even think about that anymore? Or like, do you think like, oh, I could potentially meet somebody? Or is that sort of like gone where the only way I could meet somebody is on an app?
I'm not able to do it as much as a parent, obviously.
Yeah, for sure.
Like I have constraints on my time, obviously, and my ability to get out into the community. And, I trained for the marathon and joined a running group and thought, oh, I wonder if
maybe
I'll meet
you
something.
Could meet a running partner or something.
Running
group.
Activity.
That's a great way to meet somebody.
Could be, right. And which, that's how I met my son's father. So
during a marathon?
Not during a marathon. Participating in the arts community.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
So traditional ways are still good. I still encourage people to get out there and also spend less time on the apps and maybe more time in the real world, connecting and meeting with people. I still think nothing replaces the face-to-face interaction.
Yeah.
Even when you've met the person online, if you feel safe, go out on a date and you'll know very quickly whether you should be walking to him to the car or no. You should not be splitting that.
Yeah, but Sandy, like you do a lot of acting, singing, music. There's a lot of people that you could be meeting. Like, would you're not interested in that, or?
I know what she's going to say too.
Say it low and slow.
Okay.
I do not shit where I eat.
I agree.
Okay, that's a really good point.
But it's
makes
hard
it tough.
because that's how we generally meet people, right?
However, unfortunately, in that particular realm, if you don't work out with somebody, there's a really solid chance that you might have to work with them.
Yeah, it's difficult.
And I do not have the bandwidth to have that kind of thing. I would rather have an unrequited crush on someone the entire time of a performance. I did that. in 2022, actually, there was someone that I knew was way out of my league.
Who is it? What's their Instagram?
I am not doing that.
I think
Let's find out.
I know.
So how
know.
many Asian people has Sandy acted with?
Whoa, Ryan, careful there. Well, I mean, she already
said that it's not only Asian. I'm just...
That being said, it was very unrequited. It was very, very unrequited. And that's it. It was okay because at the end of the day, I kind of knew where the boundary was.
Yeah.
I never went past it. And frankly, I wasn't really interested in pursuing anything in the first place. It was just a crush.
Yeah.
So for me, I think for most of my life, I lived with the idea of having this unrequitedness. I would always try to aim higher than I think I felt I deserved at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was me breaking my own heart and no one else breaking my own heart. So it was one of those like weird, I'm not going to give you the right to do it to me. If I'm going to do it to me, then that's it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, but the thing is, as far as that whole scene goes, the last person that I like really fully dated from an online app or just in general was a doctor. I dated him for a year.
Ooh.
A year.
And you met online?
We met online.
Okay.
And he had just moved to town. And it was like one of those things where I was like, oh my gosh, this is really happening scenarios where he just moved to town. He needed a tour guide. I was there. We went to the beach. We walked the beach. We talked about stuff. It was wonderful. And then we just launched into this, what I thought was a relationship, I now see as a situationship. Where
What
it was
happened?
just, he never wanted to refer to me as a girlfriend. He never liked terms. Period.
Okay.
Yeah, he doesn't like labels. However, if I mentioned another guy, he'd be really
So it worked
frustrated.
one way in his benefit.
It really did. But then the year comes up. It's our year anniversary. And on the day of, I asked him point blank, can I start saying I love you? Because we had...
Wait, it had been in a year?
Uh-huh.
Wait, you asked him if you could start saying that? Why would you need his permission?
He was... During the time that we dated, his parents were going through a divorce.
Okay.
And he was really fucked up with it. To the point where the father actually moved across the country to get away from the mother. Mm-hmm. And I think it really warped his sense of what he wanted in terms of commitment and what he wanted. And so I never pushed it. I don't want to make anyone uncomfortable. I think he knew the sentiments were there. I kind of thought it was reciprocated, but I said, can I start saying I love you? And he said, no.
Ooh.
And I went,
damn.
Okay, well, I'm going to make it really easy for you. Do you want this? And he said, I don't know. And I was like, I'm going to make it even easier for you. We're done. And he said, no, you can't do that. I know how you are. You feel guilty after you say something mean to somebody, whatever. I think I should be the one to do it. And I'm like, no, I'm going to do it. And you can tell your friends whatever you want. That's me standing up for myself. Mm-hmm. You cannot do that to me. Mm-hmm. And that was one of those moments where I realized maybe I do deserve more than I've been accepting.
Yeah.
But after that, he was like, well, mostly I really don't want to lose the friendship that we had too. And in a way, I kind of wasn't ready for it to end either, the friendship side. So we stayed friends for 2 years. And that same year, 2022, that same show that I was in, he came to see it. And he, at that point, was it was weird because he was retracting a little bit. We talked every single day, the entire time that we've known each other, mind you. Yeah. Every single day. We talked multiple times. And he just seemed really weird. And I was like, okay, maybe he's just going through something, whatever. A couple of days later, I received a message from him saying, I think I need to talk to you about something. And I'm like, stop pussyfooting around. Mm-hmm. Just say it. And so I called him because I don't have time to waste. I called him and I was like, what is the deal? I'm about to go to bed. What do you want? What are you, pregnant? You gay? I could have guessed both of those things. And he was just like, no, it's not that. But I wanted to let you know that I think I'm going to start dating again. And I said, okay. And he was
clearly
like,
not you.
That's it.
hurtful.
And I'm like, what did you want from me? Tears? You're not going to get them. And he was like, oh, okay, well, I just wanted to make sure, it's okay. And I'm like, now you want to make sure? Cool. Got off the phone. And then it hit me almost instantly afterwards. I texted him saying, did you tell me about this because you have already started seeing somebody else?
Yeah, after the fact, right?
And he said, I did go on a date with somebody and I do want to see them. And I said, okay, that's fine. Pulled back, because I'm like, no, if you're starting to date somebody, I'm the weird person that wouldn't mind like getting to know or even like see the ex that was previous. I don't really care about all that. That's in the past in my head.
Yeah.
But so everything seemed okay. Christmas rolls around. My mother invites him over on Christmas Day because no one should be alone on Christmas. My mother. And so I was like, she's a sweet lady,
but
tough as nails.
Sometimes that boundary has to be pushed in place.
But she really liked him.
Yeah.
And she doesn't like anybody. Yeah. So it was one of those like, so we're sitting there, she delivers cookies to the house next door. And I say, how are things going with the girl? And he kind of like receded back into the chair and went, it's fine. And I'm like, if I didn't want to know, I wouldn't have asked.
Yeah.
Like, to stop being a baby about it. Just, if you're doing great, then just say that. And he said, well, we fight a lot. And I'm like, well, that sounds like a really shitty scenario. I don't know why you do that. But I mean, if you like the girl, whatever, just do your best. And he's like, yeah, okay. Beyond that, that was like the last time I saw him in person. Couple months later, I'm going to post something on his Facebook page because I thought it was funny. I knew he'd find it funny. He had unfriended me. And he had also unfollowed me on Instagram.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That's horrible.
And I called him because, again, I don't mind confronting people because I want to get to the point, get it out, and move on.
But at some point, you got to disengage.
Well,
it's
and this
constant engagement. You
Yeah.
know, that probably there's something going on.
Well, that's
that
what
he likes
happened.
to do that, like constantly engage. But I think that when you need permission to tell somebody you love them and you have to ask for that permission, that's a red flag right there. That's a problem.
I
You have
know.
to ask permission to, share something that's usually positive for somebody to hear. But I'm so glad you're not dating him anymore. And
No.
he's done.
And further to the point, when I did call him, he was like, yeah, I did do that. And I said, what did I do to warrant this?
Yeah.
I've been nothing but supportive of you, and I'm trying to be your actual friend here.
Yeah.
My feelings for him ended when we stopped dating. Like, I'll always have that tug, that like unseen tether. But at the same time, I'm like, no, I want to move on too.
Yeah. But it doesn't, but to me, I'm thinking you didn't do anything. He was not capable of receiving the love that you had to give, and he wasn't ready or capable, whatever, not with you anyway. So it's nothing you did.
Right.
It's something that he's working on. He projected onto you, right? So there's all kinds of shit that happens in relationships. You meet people online, you meet them in person. Everybody has their baggage that they bring into it. Online, it just, I think, is a little bit more difficult because you don't really get to know them and people misrepresent who they actually are, which I think is, we get more when we meet somebody the traditional way, but that's not the way anymore. So we got to learn the rules of engagement, ask the right questions, and even then we might not know. But again, spending time, and I think one of the key takeaways here has to be spend enough time that you get to know them so you can legitimately say, okay, it's time for me to move on to a different person because this is not working. And not just move on because you're thinking that there is something better on the other side, or the paradox choice we talked about. We're overwhelmed, we're flooded, and we're paralyzed to make a decision, so we don't make one and we don't commit. That's not healthy either for relationships. We have to allow them to evolve. What do you think, Ryan?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, it's really tough where you want to know who the person is, of course, but everyone can just be whoever they want to be on the internet. Yeah. So how do you even start weeding through what's bullshit and not bullshit too? And man, you can waste so much time.
Yes. But I still
with all these bullshit people.
Right. I still think, and maybe because I'm old and traditional, but I still think you cannot get away from having a verbal conversation with somebody that's going to tell you if there's a genuine connection, a vibe or not. Words, just sent to somebody as a text message, Snapchat or whatever, you can't you can interpret a lot of things that are incorrect in those words, but when you actually speak to somebody, you hear their voice, and then you have a dialogue that's verbal, you're either going to be in sync or you're not going to be in sync. And then you can move on legitimately.
I think it's also having phone conversations can then put a voice to a text.
Yes.
Because you don't know what their voice is.
I like to hear what somebody sounds like.
Yeah, so then I think you can have a little more context with what they're texting, because you start to get a little bit an idea, not only just their cadence, but like maybe like just who they are, like what their personality is a little bit more.
Yeah.
Right? So then like the text messages becomes like you're actually with another human.
And then I want to say, when you go to the transition from the texting to the verbal conversation to a FaceTime to make sure that's actually them, and then you get to the physical date, you learn so much about that person. Like you were saying, the drinks were kind of there, and in our previous episode, we talked about, and no, he wasn't doing anything. You would not know that in a text message. You would not know that through a conversation. But when you have a physical experience, how that person engages with you, engages with the waiter, engages with people in the service industry, it tells me a lot about their character. Are they getting pissed off because their meal is late? And I'm like, oh my God, the guy's losing his shit. I don't want to be with somebody who's going to lose their shit over, or treat the person who's the waiter in a terrible manner. You're not going to know that unless you go on the date with them and character is revealed. So that's so important. And luckily, with what you shared in the previous episode, your story, you did not go on a second date and it was over. So guys, I think online dating can be a positive experience. We just have to be mindful, and we have to go into it knowing that, there are going to be people who are going to try to take advantage of me, misrepresent who they are. That happens in life too, but we just have to be cautious, but also keep an open mind.
Yeah, not cynical.
I'm not. We had positive experiences, right?
Yeah, it can work.
It does. I've known a lot of people who've met their life partner online, eHarmony, Match.com, and the other ones that you guys have talked about. But I want to thank everyone for coming into studio today, and for the previous episode, Jen, Sandy, and Amanda, of course, is always here, but mostly Ryan, my co-host, who adds so much, even when so much color to the other side.
You were just afraid I was going to cry when we were done, right?
No. We bust on each other, but at the end of the day, it's learning from our experiences that brings us together. And sometimes I think we are much more similar than we are different. And the only way to learn and grow is to have these conversations, which I'm always happy to do, and to add insight into people's lives. So thank you for joining us today. We will talk to you again next time.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Unfuck Your Life and Relationships was recorded at High Five Studio in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Unfuck your life! Unfuck your life!